chairman of the Federal Reserve said, I don't think we're going to go negative. There are some countries that are going negative interest rates. They're paying people to take their money so that they can put it into the economy. So we're going to get out of this. They're going to print enough money. And he says that they have some other tricks up their sleeves. So here's the 20-year rate cut. So they are literally giving money to banks. And what do banks turn around and do? They lend it to you. Now, an undisciplined individual is going to go out and get things that don't have value. And I hate to see it, but this is student debt since 2007. It's more than tripled. Do you think the value of your degree has tripled? Has the value of a degree tripled? You have to just go back and look at the numbers. Labor rates have not kept up with that. So the answer is no. I'm not telling you don't go to college. I'm saying don't spend $200,000 on an English degree. Sorry, not a good investment. Is $200,000 okay for medical? Yeah, absolutely. Probably for engineering. Certain degrees are absolutely worth it. Probably computer science, maybe biotech. Not worth it if you're going to go do history and English. And in a lot of the universities, the running joke is the English majors are supporting what do they call that? Subsidizing the engineers and the doctors, right? The doctors should actually be paying much more for their degree, or the engineers fill in the blank on a high value. Credit card debt since 2007, look what it's done. In other words, they're saddling us with debt for non-assets. How about a car? Car debt, same thing. Look at that. The growth of debt in all these areas, student loans, retail cards, personal loans. The HELOC's the only one that dropped. It's because people got scared of taking money out of their house, plus they made it non-deductible. Auto loans went up 80%. In fact, if I just said anything over 50%, there you go. Auto loans, student, and retail cards. And remember, they just dumped a bunch of cash into it. And you might be saying, so what? So what? So we have a whole bunch of cash out there, and we're going to get debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And here's how it works. Write this down. And I know we're going to need to take a break here in a second, but we're really close to a breaking spot. Assets equal liabilities plus equity. This is your traditional balance sheet. If you can understand that assets, and a bank is going to call your car an asset, is equal to the liabilities. Let's say I bought a $20,000 car and I borrowed $10,000 and I put $10,000 down. Then you, in theory, have $10,000 of equity. But what if that asset declines in value? What if the car becomes worth $5,000 in a year? Then your equity is called negative 5,000, right? Assuming that you didn't pay any of the principal off on the loan. We're going to go over this one repeatedly today, so don't worry. In our personal setting, this is how we calculate net worth, because what we do is we just cross out the equity, and we call that assets, really minus liabilities equal your net worth. And so we're just going to say minus, and it's going to be equal to net worth. So your assets minus your liabilities. So in our theory, your house, let's say you have $1 million house. Woo, I got $1 million house. I'm a rock star, right? Minus whatever your mortgage is. Say your mortgage is $700,000. Then you're sitting there with a $300,000 net worth. And you're like, wow, I have a whole bunch of money. No, you don't. Not really. If I sold that house, if I had to sell it at a fire sale, if I had to sell it at a foreclosure, what am I going to get? if I sold it now for $1 million, I'm still going to have transactional costs. It's about 8%. And then I have tax potentially on it. If it's your house, personal residence, you owned it for the last 5 years, you wouldn't have to pay tax on it. But it's not $300,000. That's fake. So there's always transactional costs. But we like to sit there and look and say, hey, I have assets, liabilities. The problem that we do is a lot of times we're buying liabilities with a liability. The easy rule is assets feed you and liabilities bleed you. Assets put money in your pocket, liabilities take money out. So does a car cost you money every month? Yes, it's a liability. So if I bought it with a liability, it's not really an asset. They're tricking us. They trick us with our houses too. They're just waiting to catch us. I buy a house. Does my personal residence cost me money every month?
Yes.
Or does it pay me money every month? Unless you have a duplex that you're renting out and you're bringing in more money than what it's costing you to pay that mortgage and all the expenses, the repair, the insurance, the homeowner's cost, everything to run that household, we know that this is actually a liability, and it's flying right over here, and it's going to make this thing go way out of whack. So the most important infinity rule for you to remember is assets feed you, liabilities lead you. Assets feed you, liabilities lead you. We need to take a 10-minute break.